For me, making a film is, in a way, sort of tapping into all the films I've seen in my life. I didn't go to film school. I'm a self-taught artist. And I really first fell in love with cinema in 1986. All my childhood, I was taken to the movies by my divorced dad, a tradition of the 1970s America. So I saw a lot of the films of the 1970s in their first run. But in 1986, I lived in Paris. I didn't have any friends. I didn't speak very good French. And I ended up going to the movies 2 or 3 times a day. I saw 197 movies in 3 months, and there was the direction for my life. And I discovered filmmakers like John Cassavetes, Maurice Pialat, Chantal Akerman, but also a lot of Americans. Well, Cassavetes was American, but people like Vincent Minnelli and John Ford. So really a love for a wide berth of cinema. Making this film, Passages, there was a certain moment when my cinematographer, José de Haes, said to me, "There's a man in the room and he is our monster." And that was Maurice Pialat, the French realist filmmaker who I've been in conversation, battle, and inspiration with for a long time. So Pialat was a big influence on the film. Also, other French filmmakers like Jean Eustache, Chantal Akerman, Belgian, and filmmakers who really weren't afraid of showing people's bodies. Like a film called Taxi Zoom Clos, made in 1981 in Germany. It was a very important film. Pasolini was an important filmmaker. So Fassbinder, Godard. Both Fassbinder and Godard, I'd say, were most influential because of their use of color in their films, and how you don't really remember what the films are about, but you remember what the impact of color was as a viewer. So these were some of the things playing in my mind and that we talked about a lot in the making of Passages. I don't rehearse formally with the actors before we start shooting. I spend time with each of them individually. I encourage them and create situations where they spend time with each other without me. But we don't read through the script as a group. I really don't want to hear any of the lines said in a performative way before we start shooting. So that keeps things kind of unknown. There's a level of mystery on the set that's really important for me. Each day, there's the possibility of success, and there's also a great possibility of failure. And I think that's what makes the atmosphere kind of charged. There's also a sense that of trust, which is built between the actors, but also the actors with me. I don't talk a lot, but they know I'm watching. I sort of think of myself as the therapist on set. Not because I'm trying to analyze them, but because I'm trying to be a presence that gives them room and freedom to discover new things. I'm not absent at all. I mean, I'm really present. I think they understand that there's this circus going on and there's 50 people on set, but I'm the one who's just thinking about them. I think acting is what they're doing is sort of unreal, and it gets forgotten on a film set. People think we're all doing the same thing. I'm working, you're working. But then the actors are asked to do this thing which is unlike anything else. So I try to protect that environment, and I think they have a great sense of that. I'm also listening really closely to what they're saying, and I'm giving them small adjustments. I'm also blocking them. I'm not just saying good luck. I'm telling them how to move and where the camera is set up. That's really a big part of my job. So I think they understand that I'm with them. But they also are with each other, and I want to protect that space. That's the intimacy that the camera captures. Well, Frankie, which was my last film and shot in Portugal, was really an exterior film. It was a film about landscape and people moving through the world and the natural world. And I would say Passages is an interior film. It's a film about bedrooms and restaurants and apartments and stairwells and more enclosed spaces. So I think considering, in a way, you have just a greater effect on interiors because you're defining them. You're defining the color of the wall. You're defining everything that you see. It's a little more theatrical, I would say, than a film which is shot outdoors. It's also a film where people are exposing themselves in different ways, right? They're exposing themselves physically. There is a kind of intimacy between the camera and the actors that I think is also significant in a film like Passages. Jose de Hai, my cinematographer, and I spend a lot of time, most of our time, talking about bodies in space. How do we observe those bodies, and then also how do we light them to the effect of emotion? Something I set a kind of high bar for my cinematographer and her gaffer, who's the person who does the lighting, was I said, in each situation, in each setup, lighting needs to have an emotional impact. And that's an interesting kind of challenge, and I think they really rose to that challenge in the film. Yeah, well, I'm really glad to be back here in Edinburgh, and I'm glad to be at the festival. I've been here a couple of times in the course of my 30-year career, and each time there's like a sense of originality in the programming here. There's a feeling of people who are not only interested in kind of what other festivals are doing, but really discovering a particular voice, which has to do with both Scottish cinema and UK cinema, but also just a taste. There's a taste here that I respect. For me, the kind of film festivals create a kind of organism in which filmmakers can survive, right? Like, because we are able to move country to country, we're able to connect to audiences in ways that we wouldn't be. We get to meet each other. I just met a filmmaker out in the hallway, and I know that Betty Gordon, you said, was here, so a good friend from New York. So there is a way in which film festivals are also community. What's nice about a festival like this for me is it's not a festival in which I feel that I'm on sale. I'm not a commodity here in the same way that in certain festivals, particularly when you premiere a film, when you feel like everything is exposed, capitalism is at its most cruel in a certain way. This is a festival that I feel has generosity and warmth and a kind of human quality.